We promoted the segment talking about being a king of the jungle, and I started reading your comments, and I got so interested in just the way lions actually hunt that I forgot to figure out what you're trying to say about the stock market. But when they hunt, and it's mostly the lionesses that are doing the hunting.
They're doing the work,
so
right.
the men are just sitting around on their fat with
mostly like they do everywhere, right?
Yeah, like they do.
Right.
And they only have a 16 to 18% success rate because, I mean, hunting and killing things is tough. You can get killed yourself.
Just walking around here is tough.
It's tough around here. It's like living in New York. But your point is they go after sick or old or young
or weak,
antelope
right,
or
yeah.
weak wildebeest and things like that.
And that's the way we want to play it with respect to selling or shorting stuff. We want to, target the weak items.
Technically, look at what's weak. And what's weak?
Russell 2000 especially is weak. Energy's weak. Oil's weak. Retail's weak. Europe's weak. Asia's weak. That's the weak spot. S&P is hanging in there. NASDAQ's hanging in there.
So kick these poor sectors while they're down.
Exactly.
Is what you want to do.
Yeah.
Is your success ratio going to be better?
Yeah, I think it's going to be better.
18%?
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah. Just like you want to buy winners, you want to sell losers.
Why is the Russell 2000 under so much pressure? People would think that maybe they'd be able to get past, when you're talking about tariffs and all these other issues, why are they the ones that are under pressure?
Well,
a lot of them aren't as global.
Well, first off, I think they're under pressure because about 35% of them don't make any money. That's number one. Number two is, I don't think that there's any money manager extant who's going to sell a big cap stock to buy a small cap stock. There's certainly not enough cap in small cap to make up for what you would sell in big cap. So I think that they have an inherent disadvantage. And I know that they outperformed on the initial bounce, but they've been underperforming since February. So they're a laggard here. We really do want to sell them. We think they're going to go a lot lower.
John, so I'll give you three names that are very popular in the marketplace: GE, NVIDIA, Tesla. Are they three examples of what you're trying to identify?
No, so GE we think is in a good spot to do some buying. Tesla we think is going to go a lot lower, and NVIDIA we think is going to go a lot lower. So we think GE has already had its bear market, and that's rebuilding. Tesla we think is Elon Musk's bubble finally popping, and every bubble that pops, there's a disaster. And we think NVIDIA was FANG before FANG was FANG, and NVIDIA hasn't bottomed yet. So we think that has a lot lower to go for Tesla and NVIDIA. GE, we would do some buying.
Just overall, there's some non-confirmations that bother you with the overall averages?
Yeah, so into April, late April, early May, some indexes made new highs that was unconfirmed by their long-term momentum indicator, and eventually that has to be resolved. It doesn't have to be resolved because we have to come down a lot. It just has to be resolved because it's a combination of price and time or price, but we don't think we're going up from here because the internals don't suggest it. And I'll leave you with one last item. We score every item that's in the S&P 500 on a 0 to 4 scale, 4 being the best, 0 being worst. And right now there are more zeros than there are 4s. So until that equation gets to an extreme where there are a great many more zeros relative to 4s, we think it's going to be hard for the S&P to rally.
When you sat down, you were talking about the momentum indicators not confirming some of the advances.
But I can say, I don't know about Tesla stock, but I love Elon Musk. I think that Elon Musk is the future.
Don't point at me.
Do you agree with that?
We just said you can't buy the stock because you love Elon Musk.
Can't we let him make his magic cars? If Elon Musk is watching, call me. I'm the billionaire's best friend. I think Elon Musk, a billionaire and a scientist married together, saves the world.
Wait a second. You like him from the perspective of it be a great
Writing a book.
Right, a book, but also it's guys like Elon Musk that make the future. I mean, listen, his crazy car is the future, and his crazy going to Mars is the future, and his tunnel under LA is the future. Let him do it, you know? He's got the money and he wants to do it.
If the vision is meant to be, it probably will happen, whether he's running a public company or not, has been my view about it for a while.
But that's the issue. You can separate the man
from
the company and the stock.
Right.
You can say that he's pushed humanity forward and he's done all these remarkable things.
All the problems in the
forward.
world, all the problems in the world are going to be solved by a billionaire married to a scientist. That's what I believe. You know, global warming, all of these things. You take a billionaire, a scientist, and that's what it is.
I think it's climate crisis.
Yeah. Bring us back to the president.
Well, and just to take off from what John's saying, the market has obviously been kind of held where it is by a relative minority of sort of safer defensive stuff, big growth stocks, so stuff that didn't need to have the economy do great things to work. And I think yesterday you watched the market completely chase the bond market around. At 3 o'clock, Treasury yields just lifted a little bit off their lows, and the stock market bounced into the close. And that was the whole story of yesterday. Because why? What's the message of very low yields and a flat yield curve? We know, right? I think that it's getting interesting in the sense that the second half of this year was supposed to be, okay, economic reacceleration, profits grow. The second half of this year is 5 or 6 weeks away at this point. So now that's where we are in trying to figure out if it's going to happen, quote, on time. And that's, to me, why the market has felt stuck. But also, I don't think it's about waiting for resolution. It's not going to be some kind of satisfying moment of trade resolution. It's going to be either the market gets kind of washed out enough and people say, hey, yields are so low, dividends look fine relative to those yields, a lot of cheap stocks, we'll just buy them. Most of the gains of this bull market have happened when something we were really afraid of didn't happen.
Mike, the last thing
and that's what we're kind of waiting for.
The last thing we were afraid of was earnings. You now have a vacuum, basically, of 5 to 6 weeks of no earnings. How should we be?
I think that's still sort of out there as okay because they haven't fallen apart. But you haven't seen the signs that the estimates are going up and that you've had an excuse to raise estimates.
Oh, John, let me get just Roque comments on it. So you talk, you always make things, Andrew, he does this where he makes it sort of entertaining. So Abbott and Costello, Heckle and Jekyll, Tom and Jerry, Scooby and Shaggy, Sorkin and Kurt. You got all these things.
Those are the next two that's going to be in there.
But it's like copper and oil. Copper is getting crushed. You think oil is a short?
Yeah, it's almost unprecedented to think that oil and the energy complex could be in a bull market with the rest of the CRB in a bear market. So we've been sellers of oil for about a month and a half now, 2 months.
And you
we
think
it's coming lower.
Indicated lower. Why is copper? What's copper indicating?
Maybe there's going to be slow growth industrials. Yeah,
you know,
I just want to pay attention to price.
Got a glazed look. He just mentioned, Elon Musk with copper. Anyway, thank you.